In the beginning, it was nothing more than a distant dream, a concept only science fiction could imagine, colonizing Mars. But today, that dream is no longer a fantasy. It is an urgent mission. The race to build the first human infrastructure on Mars has begun. Two of the world's most visionary billionaires, Elon Musk, with his groundbreaking company SpaceX, and Jeff Bezos, through his space venture Blue Origin, are locked in a high-stakes competition. The mission is clear: build the first fully automated farms on Mars. These farms will be critical, ensuring that when humans land, the necessary infrastructure will already be in place. Farms to grow food, energy systems to power the settlements, and an environment that can sustain life. But how do we even begin? How do you construct a farm on a planet millions of kilometers away, in a place where the atmosphere is hostile and temperatures drop below freezing at night? It all begins here, on Earth, in the design labs of SpaceX and Blue Origin. And their first task: designing spaceships that can carry AI-controlled robots to Mars. Robots that will build and operate these farms without human intervention. At SpaceX, engineers are working tirelessly on their Starship. This is no ordinary rocket. It's designed to be fully reusable, capable of carrying heavy payloads and returning to Earth for multiple missions. It is sleek, fast, and built for speed. But beyond its impressive exterior, the real magic lies in its cargo, a fleet of advanced, AI-powered robots that will be responsible for the initial construction on Mars. Over at Blue Origin, the scene is different. While New Glenn may not be as fast as the Starship, it's built for durability. It is a heavy-lift rocket designed to transport massive amounts of infrastructure in a single trip. Its robotic team, meanwhile, is engineered for endurance, each one a powerhouse capable of lifting heavy materials and working non-stop in Mars's harsh environment. Both teams have their strengths. SpaceX is banking on speed and agility, while Blue Origin is focusing on stamina and strength. But the race is far from decided. The launch window for Mars only opens once every 2 years, and both SpaceX and Blue Origin know the stakes are high. The clock is ticking. Each team must launch their rockets when Mars and Earth are in perfect alignment, an opportunity they can't afford to miss. The spacecraft are ready, the robots programmed, and the entire world watches with bated breath. At SpaceX, the Starship stands tall, gleaming in the sunlight. The engines are primed, and the countdown begins. On the other side of the planet, Blue Origin's New Glenn is also being prepped for launch. The rockets are colossal, their missions ambitious, and both teams are determined to make history. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff. Both rockets launch simultaneously, hurtling toward the stars in a blaze of fire and sound. As they ascend through Earth's atmosphere, the tension builds. It's not just a race to Mars. It's a race for the future of humanity. The journey to Mars is long and arduous, but finally, the day arrives. After months of traveling through the cold void of space, the moment of truth is upon us: the landing on Mars. Both SpaceX and Blue Origin have arrived in orbit around the red planet. Now, the true test of their engineering prowess begins. With the surface of Mars just below them, the countdown begins once more, not for liftoff, but for descent. Both rockets prepare to descend into Mars's thin atmosphere, a critical and dangerous maneuver. Any mistake could lead to disaster. At SpaceX, the Starship begins its controlled descent. As the spacecraft plummets toward the Martian surface, Its heat shields glow with the intensity of re-entry, protecting the craft from the extreme heat generated as it cuts through the atmosphere. The ship shakes violently as it slices through thin air, the faint glow of the Martian surface coming into view. Starship has trained for this moment for years. Its heat shields, carefully designed to handle the intense friction of atmospheric re-entry, hold strong. But this is only the beginning of the challenge. As Starship slows its descent, it activates its powerful Raptor engines, guiding the massive ship toward the pre-designated landing zone, a barren stretch of Martian land carefully chosen for its flat terrain and proximity to essential resources. The spacecraft hovers momentarily above the surface before gently touching down, sending a cloud of red dust billowing into the air. Meanwhile, across Mars, Blue Origin's New Glenn is about to attempt the same feat. As the rocket enters the atmosphere, it too glows from the heat of re-entry, its systems working in perfect harmony to slow its descent. Like Starship, New Glenn activates its engines, carefully guiding itself to the landing zone. The heavy-duty spacecraft lands with a thud, its massive body settling into the Martian soil. Both teams have made it. 2 rockets from Earth, now standing proudly on Mars, ready to deploy their greatest creations, the AI-controlled robots. Inside the ships, robots stir to life. These aren't just machines. They are the builders of the future, each one designed to withstand the challenges of low gravity, extreme temperatures, and radiation exposure. The robots are programmed to begin the construction of self-sustaining farms, designed to grow food and prepare the environment for human settlers who will one day call Mars home. The robots, powered by advanced AI, have been meticulously programmed for this exact moment. Their mission: to build the first Martian farms, laying the foundation for humanity's future on the Red Planet. But will they succeed? At SpaceX, the robots disembark from the Starship. The Martian dust swirls around them as they begin to spread out, each assigned a specific task in the larger mission. Some begin clearing the ground, using laser-guided systems to level the terrain for construction. Others start unloading the materials necessary to build the greenhouses that will house the crops. The SpaceX robots, sleek and efficient, waste no time. Their tasks are clear: build greenhouses to grow food, deploy solar panels for energy, and set up irrigation systems that will ensure the crops have the water they need to thrive in this arid environment. On the other side of Mars, Blue Origin's robots are hard at work as well. These robots are built differently, stronger, more robust. Their mission is the same, but their approach is different. They work slower but can handle heavier materials. They begin unloading massive greenhouse structures, prefabricated on Earth, and assembling them piece by piece. Their heavy-duty design allows them to lift and position the large components with ease. While SpaceX focuses on speed, Blue Origin's approach is centered on durability and longevity. Their heavier robots are tasked with building larger, more fortified greenhouses, structures that can withstand the harshest conditions Mars has to offer. Both teams' robots work tirelessly, day and night, in the low gravity of Mars. The greenhouses begin to take shape, their transparent domes reflecting the faint light of the distant sun. Inside these greenhouses, the first seeds of Martian agriculture will soon be planted. But before that can happen, the robots must finish setting up the necessary systems. The first greenhouses are almost ready, but the robots still have much work to do. Solar panels need to be installed to provide the energy necessary to power the greenhouse's environmental control systems. Irrigation systems need to be laid out to ensure the crops receive water. recycled and filtered from the limited supplies brought from Earth. The descent was successful, the landing perfect. But now, the real work begins. Mars is no friendly frontier. With its barren landscapes, extreme temperatures, and unbreathable atmosphere, the survival of humanity on Mars hinges on the success of the farms being constructed at this very moment. Both SpaceX and Blue Origin are racing against time and the elements to establish the first fully automated farms on this desolate planet. On one side of Mars, SpaceX's fleet of agile robots have finished constructing the basic greenhouse structures. But the real challenge lies ahead. The robots must now install the complex internal systems that will allow these greenhouses to function as self-sustaining ecosystems. Water, air, temperature, and light must all be carefully controlled to ensure the crops can grow. The greenhouses are more than just shelters. They are life support systems designed to replicate Earth's environment in an alien world. Inside, the air must be filtered and pressurized to mimic Earth's atmosphere, and the temperatures carefully maintained to protect the crops from the Martian cold. On the other side of Mars, Blue Origin's robots are taking a different approach. Their greenhouses are larger, designed to house multiple crops and be part of a wider farming infrastructure. The Blue Origin team is focused on the long-term survival of these farms. While their robots work slower, the scale of the infrastructure they are building is impressive. Blue Origin's strategy is one of durability. Their greenhouses are not just about surviving the first few years. They are designed to withstand Mars's extreme conditions for decades, potentially even centuries. These greenhouses are fortified with thicker walls and more advanced radiation shielding to protect the crops from the deadly cosmic rays. Inside one of the SpaceX greenhouses, robots are setting up the lighting systems. Artificial light, powered by the solar panels outside, will ensure that the crops have a constant source of energy to grow. The robots are placing rows of LED panels above the crop beds, adjusting them to provide the optimal spectrum of light for plant growth. With Mars so far from the sun, artificial light is essential. SpaceX's greenhouses use advanced LED systems, which can be calibrated to provide the perfect balance of red and blue light, the most efficient wavelengths for photosynthesis. But the real innovation lies in the low-gravity irrigation systems being developed. The SpaceX robots are now installing advanced irrigation systems inside the greenhouses. On Earth, gravity pulls water down through the soil to the roots of plants. But on Mars, with only 38% of Earth's gravity, water behaves differently. The irrigation systems must be carefully designed to deliver water directly to the roots without flooding the soil or allowing water to evaporate too quickly. In Mars's low gravity, water doesn't flow the same way. To overcome this, SpaceX has developed a system that delivers precisely controlled amounts of water directly to the plant's roots. This drip irrigation system ensures that the crops receive exactly the amount of water they need, no more, no less. The water is then recycled, filtered, and reused, creating a closed-loop system that maximizes efficiency. Meanwhile, Blue Origin's robots are setting up a different irrigation system. Instead of focusing on precision, they've opted for a hydroponic approach, where the plants are grown without soil, their roots suspended in nutrient-rich water. This method, they believe, is better suited for Mars's unique environment. Blue Origin's hydroponic system is designed to be self-sustaining. By growing plants without soil, They eliminate the need for complex soil management systems and reduce the risk of contamination. The plant's roots are suspended in water, which is constantly circulated and infused with the nutrients they need to grow. It's a system that requires less maintenance and can produce higher crop yields in the long run. The final step in setting up these greenhouses is ensuring the environmental control systems are fully operational. The temperature inside the greenhouses must be kept within a specific range to allow the crops to thrive, and the air must be constantly circulated and filtered to maintain the right levels of oxygen and carbon dioxide. Both teams have developed advanced environmental control systems to ensure the crops can grow in this hostile environment. But each approach has its advantages. SpaceX's greenhouses are smaller, more agile, and easier to maintain, while Blue Origin's are larger and built for the long term. The question now is, whose system will prove to be more successful? Years of preparation, engineering, and innovation have led to this moment. The first human settlers are on their way to Mars. The farms built by robots and maintained by AI systems are now fully operational. The crops are growing, the greenhouses are generating energy, and the environment inside is stable. Mars is ready. What once seemed impossible, a thriving, self-sustaining farm on the surface of another planet, is now a reality. The scene shifts to a massive spacecraft filled with the first human settlers approaching Mars. On board are scientists, engineers, and explorers, all ready to make history. As the ship descends, the settlers catch their first glimpse of their new home. A planet once barren and inhospitable, now dotted with greenhouses, solar panels, and signs of life. The first settlers are about to make history. As they descend through Mars's thin atmosphere, they can already see the greenhouses below. The first farms on Mars, built entirely by robots. These farms will provide them with the food, oxygen, and energy they need to survive and thrive on this new world. The spacecraft lands gently on the surface of Mars, its massive door opening to reveal the eager faces of the first humans to set foot on the planet. They step out into the Martian air, still thin and cold, but soon to be transformed by the work they will do here. The future has arrived.